Okay, just wanted to go over this. As you can see, the meter's at 350. Three, yeah, around like between 340, and it's going up. It's going up. It's 10:15 p.m. and it's Friday, December 6th. I'm gonna go. Really wanted to do this as a discussion as far as my own opinion, my personal opinion of what I think of gang stalkers, as far as the targeting that I'm personally going through. From the scenario of this, in my case, they and I've already stated this in one of my older videos, but I just wanted to give a clear explanation because I've seen other people's videos and it's like it's the same thing. Unfortunately, like in my case, a lot of the evidence that I've caught, as you've seen before in my previous videos, they've hacked some of my devices, and I saw that they actually started to tamper with some of the evidence that I had, such as why I started to start investing into SD cards. And if you haven't, I highly recommend you to invest in SD cards, but be mindful for the prices. I'm telling you, if you see a SD card for a memory around like 100 and something, they got it priced at 15. Do not buy it. That's a complete fraud. Even when it's 60 around 15, that's still a fraud. That's why I only use it for my digital camera. I have no intentions on putting that in my phone because it could still be used, but I guarantee you that's not the actual memory for those cards. The other thing, anyway, I'm starting to get off a topic here. Anyway, in my personal opinion about what I think of gang stalkers is this. Considering the fact, and this is going to the point that where like I went no contact. This is going to the point that where I even caught on when I first caught on to the stalking, and I hid. I legitly hid, and I saw how desperate they were to find me. I'm gonna just go ahead and say, I'm telling you, like when I was hiding, when they were looking for me, when I was hiding, someone had to walk out. A gang stalker was on the same street where I was hiding. And he literally had to walk outside of his home. You want to know what time it was when this dude did this? 3 in the morning. 3 in the morning. This dude got off his ass up out of his bed 3 in the morning just to stalk someone who's not even wanted. That bad. No joke. And this leads me to believe that these gang stalkers, they don't have a life. And whatever life they do have, it's mostly bent towards a single individual. That's it. And once that person's gone, they do it again. That's it. They get some time to themselves, but it's all mainly fixated towards that one individual. And I'm like, that shit. I don't see the way I see it. I get it. The street theater that I go through, it's annoying as hell. It really is. That's annoying. A lot of the stuff they're doing, it's pretty obvious. It's gonna be annoying to just about anybody. But at the same time, I know why they're doing it, and I just ignore it. If they do it, I mean, they do it. That's just it. But the way I started looking at it from a different perspective. In my case, what they're trying to do is convert me from a straight man to a homosexual. And what they would do is these guys would literally go out of nowhere. They would park themselves in front of me. They would bend their ass over, and they'll have their camera in the right angle and try to claim that I'll be looking at them, even though that's completely not true. They would do this repeatedly. And then they would go around the neighborhood spreading this falsified evidence around to give the wrong opinion out. And it's really crazy how they do this. It's like they really are out to get you. Oh, excuse me. And I'm looking at it in several different cases. First off, the place that I work at, I won't mention the name, but the place, as far as it goes, that place is private property. So first off, they're showing illegal, falsified evidence of what they're using for illegal purposes, which is slandering. It's illegal slander for one thing. It's based off of a pile of lies. And they know it's even worse. They know it's based off a pile of lies, but they will maintain this sense of denial about it. And the reason why they're so obsessed with maintaining that sense of denial, I'm telling you, they'll go as far as getting aggressive just to cover up the truth. And I say this because they're being paid to do it. They're being paid to do it, and they understand that if they ever admit to the lies, they don't get paid. If they can't get your face, they don't get paid. If they can't capture your face as they're doing their drive-bys, they don't know if what they're doing is really effing with you. So that's why they have to get your picture desperately. You'll see them driving up and down alongside you in droves like crazy, man. Like these people, they literally get off from stalking people. And I'm just like, the fact that they even brag about that, like that's like really shameful, especially for an adult to act like that, you know? But you know something? Even though like this is an unfortunate experience for me, and for certainly for all other targeted individuals, you know how I see this. In a way, I see this as a blessing in disguise because in my case, I've had people like this lady immediately. I said this before. She stopped me in my tracks. She stopped me in my tracks, and yeah, they got it turned down to like 3 between 2. I wanna try to keep this thing leveled off. Turn that volume down and let me disable the sound because that's getting annoying. That could end up being used as a sensitization attempt. But yeah, please tell me I didn't lose my train of thought. But anyway, my thoughts on the gang stalkers. First off, their life is primarily set upon what you do, what you buy, what you're feeling, where you're at. And it seems like their entire reason for living is just to keep track of a certain individual. And when that person's either like put away or something, then they just move on to the next person. So I'm like, do these people really have any bit of, because it doesn't really seem, if since they live stream stuff when you're on the V2K stuff and all the direct energy weapons and all that, it doesn't seem like they have a life of their own. It really doesn't. It really doesn't. Like every topic that they have is based off a single individual. You can't get one day out of these people where they don't talk about that particular individual. Not one. Not a single one. They are what an addict is to cocaine. Your business is like cocaine to them. Very highly addicted. Almost dangerously, because this program has gotten people killed. It's got people hurt. It's literally gotten people falsely imprisoned. It's caused so much. And the people who are responsible for the stalking have definitely received negative negative penalties from this. There've been times where they've been caught in the act, and for a fact the handlers and all that, the people behind it, they're not gonna back them out for nothing. That's not gonna happen. So when they get caught up, they go straight to jail for that. And my only question is this: I mean, come on, like in this scenario, most of these gang stalkers actually have families of their own. So I'm looking at this scenario. You basically are putting yourself in a position where you can get immediately, if the individual, the targeted individual, gets a complete evidence of what you're doing, and actually is able to prove that you've been stalking them from point A to point B, because it is illegal to do this. And I'm pretty certain you heard that that's actually one of my gang stalkers that's going down there now. That person right there is an informant. What they did was they went into the unit that's like on the left side of my apartment. So most likely they're going to inform possibly the handlers or whatever as to what I'm doing. They've been constantly like trying to prevent me from making videos lately, but I've been able to bypass it so far. And if you're wondering why I always keep the recording on the meter, is so I can actually always monitor when they're turning it up and when they're turning it down and when they're turning it off. Just as in my last video, I caught them, or should I say I tricked them into turning it off. And that's my prime example as how you need to deal with these covert people, if you can even call them people anymore. I don't think no actual human being would actually do any of this stuff to another human being. I just don't see that happening. There's several pains in this world, but to honestly like immediately fixate and destroy a person's life, to forcibly submit them into a point of homelessness is kind of sick. Is not even kind of. It's just sickening. It really is. Because the way I see it, I believe in the saying, "Don't do unto others what you wouldn't want them to do unto you." I wouldn't steal from you, so like don't steal from me. I wouldn't hurt you, so don't hurt me. But in this case, it just shows how desperate these people are from. Again, if you can't even call them people anymore, it just shows how desperate they are for money. So the fact that they would be that desperate, it really does say a lot about their character. For me, I could use plenty of money, but like I'm not finna go out of my way to jeopardize another person's life for it. I'm not doing that. No. And if someone tried to offer me money on the side, I still wouldn't take it because I don't do that. Like I only believe in earning money in a fair and reasonable manner that is not involved in any type of way of harming another individual. I'm not doing that. No. I kind of wish that my faith in God was stronger back when I was younger, though, because there were times that I went into a church, but it's just that like it was just that like how kids will get. Like I was just too fixated on the video games. I was hanging out with my friends or whatever. It was a lot of stuff like that. It was a lot of stuff like that. But as soon as as soon as my targeting got as bad as it did, I started to actually turn myself over to God because that one scenario, I honestly believed it had to been divine intervention. The fact that a single lady would constantly stop me dead in my tracks with her vehicle and try to preach the word of Jesus Christ, telling me Jesus loves me. Every time she did this, I stated again, I was downtown, uptown, I was in the suburbs, I was in the city, and the same thing happened. And it was another scenario where it was a dude, and he did the same thing. But I don't believe this was part of my gang stalking because I believe they may have knew they either knew what was about to happen and they were trying their best to warn me. But then again, I don't know. It may have been a part of my targeting. I do not know. But you know something? The thing about gang stalkers is they don't really preach the word of God. They don't. And any gang stalker who is a complete goer would know that the stuff that they're doing is definitely against, God, because it's going against the 10 Commandments for one thing. But I'm getting off a track here. My main idea of what a gang stalker is in my current situation. First off, these people are being paid to basically try to advertise a sexual identity to me out of a desperate attempt to convert me over to that. I've already showed not being interested by me not giving into their or not even engaging or even so much as even saying a single syllable to their honeypot attempts. It hasn't happened. Like I'm like, no. I just walked away. I didn't even bother even trying to have a discussion with the person. I just said no. It goes even farther as to where they would literally walk themselves in front of my vision and park themselves there. Again, they would bend over, they would do that, and they would have their phone just so happen to be in the right angle, and they would even go as far as waiting around corners to do the exact same thing. They would strategically do this. As far as the system cameras, they got people watching wherever I'm going to alert them when to do this. And they're doing this on a constant basis. Now, the only thing, in my honest opinion, This is basically where I'm getting at. First off, all I'm seeing is a bunch of guys being paid off as prostitutes trying to advertise themselves as homosexuals, of which I said no to already. Like, I'm dead serious. Like, I'm like, no. I don't care what you're trying to convert me into. The answer is no. I don't care how much money they're paying you. My answer is still no. It's not happening. All of my previous sexual partners have all been women, including, that's also including my first one. I've lost my virginity to a woman. And if the next person I get in a relationship will definitely be a female. But as being a TI, I'm afraid, like, as far as relationships, I've heard the very bitter about that. And some of the people who were lucky enough to have the people they with for years, who are also target individuals, they're lucky to still have somebody who's there for them. There's even been family members who refused to aid in this organization because they refused to aid in, and they ended up becoming target individuals themselves. In that case, it's the same. It's kind of like the same similarity to some of my other family members. There's several things that happened to them that I won't mention, but it just goes to show you just how desperate they are to literally tear a person's life apart. It goes to show you that they would literally torment a person's family member just to get at somebody. That desperate. They will go as far as to use technology to control a person through hypnosis, just to tear that, just to get rid of them. And the sad part about this is not everybody is capable of fully understanding the severity of this. And it's because they haven't experienced it. I would hope that they never have to. But at the same time, this is something this technology that they have has already since proven itself to be able to be more than capable of doing great good. But unfortunately, the people behind it are doing great harm with it. And the people who are being paid to support this are doing no better than continuing to actually aid in covering up this covert operation. As far as my own targeting, it's just as I said. The only thing I'm seeing from this is just a bunch of people being paid off as prostitutes to basically try to show. And I'm telling you, like, you can't ignore what the severity of this is. When you go up and try to show your ass off to a guy that's gay, I'm sorry. I mean, I have nothing against homosexuals. I really don't. I don't view that as my the reason why I don't judge or don't even have a negative or positive opinion about it is because I don't believe it's my place to have that opinion. I believe that's up to God. If God didn't was against it, then He is. If it, or it, I would rather say it because I don't. God. I don't. As God being a being, I can't really say whether God has a gender or not. I can't do that. I don't have a say so on that. But yeah. As far as that's concerned, that's my opinion about that. But as far as anything else other than that, no, like that's just it. When it comes to that, that is just it. Anything else, but mostly that's basically it. So I'm telling you, any other targeted individual out there, if they're doing any type of stuff like that, whether they're showing their behind off to you, whether they're doing a lot of homosexual references, basically their primary attempt is most likely to convert you into that direction. That's pretty much what that is. If it's a female going through this, I haven't seen too many female TI videos to know of their full situation, but I've heard that there's plenty of them who had full possession before. And I know how that goes because I've actually experienced that before. I don't think it can work now, but then again, I don't know. I've been detoxing. I've been taking all the stuff I got. I've been getting all the protection and stuff that I can. I've shared the information that I have with other targeted individuals, so maybe that they can also help themselves out from this as well. As far as the generator that I'm working on, I'm afraid I would recommend other target individuals to use this as well. But before you are to use the generator, the EMF generator, to basically take out the bots, You gotta understand, if you're eating any type of canned goods or whatever, right? And I really owe great thanks to I can't remember her full YouTube channel, but the first part of it was TG, capital T, capital G. I owe you great thanks for telling me this, although it should have been blatantly obvious, and I feel kind of stupid for not realizing it sooner. There are heavy metals in canned goods, basically, and with this stuff being iodized radiation, they can actually cause great harm. So you got to understand, this radiation has great magnetized effects towards metals such as mylar and both mylar, aluminum foil, obviously metal and stuff like that. Obviously, tin. Obviously, I don't know what kind of effect copper has against this. Usually copper has a more of a desensitization effect when it comes to electricity. So I don't know. That's the one type of material I don't think no one has tried yet. So I don't know. I don't know. Usually electrodes can't even go nowhere through copper. But then again, they use copper to basically transfer electrical currents. So I'm not too certain about that. Um, Anything as far as that though, as far as I know, I don't know if I even said this in my last video, but if you're using Mylar, which I know a lot of people use, what you want to do is get bubble wrap. Get 2 layers of bubble wrap and put it underneath the Mylar. The reason why you want to do this is because first off, you're gonna have a plastic protection coating that keeps the Mylar off your skin while it's absorbing those electrical currents that they're beaming down on you telepathically. You want to have that. It's best to also get some silicone glue. Glue the edges inward so that the bubble wrap is actually layered over the Mylar. So that way that patch that's on the inner part is nowhere near touching your skin or anything like that. It's not even coming in contact with your skin. I would recommend wearing something like this, like underneath the cap or something like that. Just picture it off. But you got to remember, the antennas for this stuff that beams down on you is located in the ears. It's located on the very tip parts of the ears. I realized this every time I started messing around with my ears. It's even got something related to do with your nerve system, because I realized that putting ice like on your back or something like that, or your neck, or the back of your neck, it causes a dysfunctional connection with this. It causes a disconnect with it. Now, as far as my view on gang stalkers, these people kind of I would say zombies, but I think puppets is the best. Puppets is definitely the best punctuation for this particular situation, because it seems like these people will go so far as to degrade themselves for money. I mean, honestly, how are you gonna call someone gay, but you're going out of your way to bend your ass, try to advertise your ass to them, and you're filming yourself while you're doing it for money of all things? That's a prostitute. That's a prostitute, without a doubt. That is a prostitute. I can even hear them outside my apartment right now getting pissed off, but I really don't care. The truth is the truth, and that's just precisely what it is. They do stuff like this, and all I ever hear coming from them is gay this and gay that. So I just say, you know something, fine. Maybe they are gay. If they are, I mean, I don't see why I should have a problem with it. If that's the way they like to flow, I mean, hey, so be it. I don't judge. But that you got to understand. You got to look at it from my psychological perspective on this. First off, where's these words? You know, when they say all this stuff, whatever, when they act out with their street theater. First off, you got to look at it from this perspective. First off, all these words being said, who or what is saying it? It's coming from them, right? Who or what is actually doing something to bring attention to this? It's coming from them, right? I didn't tell them to bend their ass over to try to show it to me. They chose to do that, and they did it for money, right? That's what they do. I didn't tell them to start talking about homosexuality. And again, from my own, from my own defense, this is only me giving a debriefing of my targeting situation as far as how my workplace mobbing goes. Now they do this on a daily basis, but I just ignore it. And the way I look at it is, it's kind of like an annoy. It's like that one telemarketer that's like super annoying, that don't catch the hint of that's just trying to sell you some crap that you're just not interested in. But like, even after you say no, they still try to sell it to you. It's really crazy, you know. And the way I realized is that they were trying to turn me out was I ended up having to pick something up, and I think they got the wrong idea or whatever. And I heard these gang stars going like, he's ready. I'm like, what in the hell are they talking about? And then I started to catch on to what it was. It's like, these people try to turn people out. And I'm like, no, 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 that is not happening. No, I don't care how much these gang stalkers are getting paid. If I ever have a sexual partner, it's gonna be with a woman. It is gonna be with a woman. I do have very strict standards, and I have my reasons as to why I do not date in the workplace. And I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Feel free to disagree with it if you must, but I don't date in the workplace with any female, because that's not for. I don't believe that that's where you should be. Trying to find someone to date. To each his own on that, but I don't. In this type of society, I don't think it's a good idea to literally get your honey where you get your money from, if that makes sense. And I've seen enough conflict within the workforce to know that this is a fact. As far as dating is concerned, there's plenty of places out there. I mean, for freak's sake, they got online dating. A person doesn't need to go to their job just to try to get some honey, okay? They don't have to do that. A person can literally go on a dating app, even though I don't recommend it, because there's most likely, like, I've already did the research, just like a heck of a ton of catfishes on there. But you can you could date. You got dating apps. You got clubs. I wouldn't recommend going to clubs, because just middle-aged people who are way past their prime go there. And it depends, and either that or people who are just like way over their limit for their age are going in clubs. And not to mention, like, I did go to a club once, and it wasn't an experience that I liked. Too many people went there, and do not go through the crowd, because someone will definitely reach for your crotch, and you won't even know who the heck it is. So just be mindful of that, and it's definitely not worth going there. And again, as you know, as a target individual, when you go out, you're gonna see, if you're not around another target individual, you're gonna see nothing. You're literally gonna see nothing but zombies around. Zombies or puppets. Um, as far as my other thoughts on gang stalkers, honestly, this is what I'm looking at here. Every day of every moment that they're wasting their life is all for money. I mean, are you really gonna look? Do you really think you're gonna look back and be proud at all of this? You can imagine a person being in their 60s, looking back and realizing that all they've done was watch other people live their lives, yet they didn't live theirs. The only thing they were fixated on was materialistic possessions, money, and stalking. That's no way to live a life. When you really start to think about it, that is no way to live a life for nobody. That is not a way to live a life. I know one thing though. I may be a target individual, but I'm not stooping as low as to do what they're doing to people. and I will never allow myself to be converted into something that I'm not. It's just unfortunate that I didn't realize this at a sooner time when I was younger. But I think my mom would have preferred it that I didn't know about this, unfortunately. And I say that because I honestly believe she did her hardest to protect me until I was old enough to, to fend for myself. Man, it's a shame though. In a society like this, you got to deal with the fact that the food that you once ate turns out to be your enemy, and turns out the food that you didn't usually would eat was actually your ally. But one thing that always stuck with me through it all, I always had this uneasy feeling about certain people that I was around. I couldn't figure it out what it was. I just didn't know, but I had a very uneasy feeling. As far as the symptoms of my direct energy or weapon attacks, the symptoms that I've had since I was a kid, I would black out. I would be under paralysis. I would wouldn't be able to move. I wouldn't be able to move at all. Like I would just be literally just stuck there in the middle of paralysis, either on the couch or a bed as I'm laying down. And it was crazy because like I couldn't even move my entire body at all. It felt like that my entire body was just completely numb. But I was awake. Um, Other than that, there were times where I did see the the holograms and stuff that they show that they project. I have seen that before. I've seen it multiple times, and they have it to where like as soon as I catch on to it, it just would just disappear. It would be like this very bleak, dark looking shadow looking thing, and then it would just disappear at the same time that I noticed it. It would always just take off. I've noticed this like several different locations where I was at. And I'm telling you, these gang stalkers, man, they are out there. They are going ballistic based off what they're hearing me saying right now. But I said it before, and I'll say it again. My answer to that is no. I don't care what type of evidence you think you have that may seem true. It's not, and I know for a fact because I've seen enough to know that the fact that they're gonna lie till they die, to the point where all the evidence that they've taken is all falsified. They've intentionally parked themselves in places and made things out that like that they are gang stalkers. For people who don't know, who are following these people, you need to do the research. You need to do the research as far as workplace mobbing. You need to do the research as far as how this organization is orchestrated to destroy the entire aspect, the entire being of a targeted individual's life. You need to understand that. Meaning they will stop at nothing. They will stop at nothing to destroy a person's life. And it's all for the sake of money. And doing it in this kind of operation is definitely going under the point of the money being the root of all evil. Cause man, with the fact that kids are being put on, with the fact that me being a kid being put under this, I can only imagine how many other people I've known back when I was younger who were also submitted under this. There's no telling who else could be under this, you know. And it's because of that I am truly grateful that I did not have kids. I would never have been able to forgive myself at all if I did settle down and have kids in a society like this, man. Like, there's no way I would have been able to forgive myself at all. And I think for some reason, I had this uneasy feeling about that. I wanted to become a father, but I had this very uneasy feeling about it. So I never pursued it. I never did. One of my exes, man, I really did love her, but you know something? She loved me as well. She truly did. And the relationship was so deep that we would literally fall asleep just talking on the phone. No joke, we would fall asleep just talking on the phone. And it was so deep, but the thing is, like, I had this uneasy feeling. The relationship was so deep that she literally wanted to just put everything down and move out to where I was at. It was that big, but I didn't trust this neighborhood. I didn't trust this community, and I'm glad I was right. I'm fully glad that I trust my intuition on that because something just didn't feel right. And this happened when I was living in that apartment unit, the very first one that I got into after the Great Louisiana flood. So I'm glad I trust my intuition on that. I don't plan on getting in contact with anybody who I know, from way back because I don't. It's best if they don't get involved in this. It's only directed towards me at this point. So if there was anybody from back then, they probably long since been got in contact with them. But yeah, man, it's primarily for their own protection. And plus, with me going no contact, it's not really gonna benefit them anyway. Because I'm not gonna, even if they did contact me, I'm not gonna, answer back. Um, but yeah, man, like this is like some really crazy stuff. I know they only attack people who you're around, and they only attack the people who you most likely conversate with. Because when you think back on this, they don't really gain much of a benefit from from harming someone who you're not in contact with. I mean, they don't get anything from that. Their whole purpose is to basically destroy you, so their fixation is going to be primarily on you. But I have seen scenarios to where they threaten the lives of certain people who they cared about. But honestly, man, like these people are desperate. They are desperate to destroy a person's life. They are seriously desperate. And again, they will swear up and down, no joke, to complete supporting the lies that they spread. But you see, I use that behavior that they do and that they dish out as a to my advantage. And I let them spread their rumors. I let them do their street theater. And you want to know why I let them do that? I let them do that so that other people in society can see them for what they really are. Because you want to know what they're going to do the minute you speak out about it? They're going to hide. They're going to hide. They're going to pretend and play like nothing's going on. They're going to pretend like they're not doing anything wrong. And then as soon as you actually bring it up to attention, as soon as they're starting to do it, people are going to act like people are just not going to know what you're talking about. That's why you want to wait until they start doing it for a little bit for enough people to grow aware of it, and then you bring out the truth of what's going on. So that way they can't play the denial card. They can't hide. They can't undo what they've already done did. Too many people have seen it, and I'm telling you, not all these people know what these people are really doing. They don't know about the directed energy weapons. They think these people are just basically just playing the bully or something like that. But it's much more than that. These people are slowly killing individuals. They're slowly killing children. They're slowly killing homeless folk. They're slowly killing the elderly. A lot of people are dying from this. No joke. It's gotten so bad. It's just so much covert mess going on all around the world, and it's just no telling when or what is gonna stop it, you know. But the only thing I seem to understand is that they do not want targeted individuals to join up. And if you see someone who actually is running a support group for targeted individuals, like an antivist group or something like that, or a something to rise up against the gang stalking and all that, like they have those people to be heavily targeted. And if you don't believe me, as for anybody, like ask yourself, like when you are around somebody, was this person like being constantly talked about? Was this person being bullied? Was this person being called crazy? Was this person being called a criminal? You gotta ask yourself, why would so many people gather up and literally just be slandering the mess out of a single individual like that? What would make them do that? What would make them act like that? What would make them so desperate to be that fixated on a single person? This is MM's TI strategy guide. I'm about to hit 40 minutes. I'm over and out.